basically we had this bass line, and it went like. And that was basically an 8-bar loop that we had, some multi-band, and a UAD LA2A to keep things like leveled out. And once we had that, I was like, maybe add like a little texture to it. So I just went in Omnisphere and literally found this ambient texture thing, and I laid it over with the same exact chords. So then they kind of complement each other. One's kind of like an in-your-face, like, you know, distorted keys, and one of them is kind of like more spacey, like reverbed out. The low end doesn't cut through, but I layered it with an electric bass, which is basically like an Ableton stock electric bass, and just like some EQing, some saturation on that. And then for the drums, I basically just had this kick sample I found. Had that like a snappy top end, and I just found this like weird light, like kind of dreamy snare, just like washed out in reverb. And then like a crash. It's like just like a transition crash basically. And then those are pretty much the only drums in the verse. Aside from that, we had like these FX, which is basically, I think it was just like a sample I reversed and it sounded cool. This actually goes throughout the whole entire song. I think it was the end of the reverb, like the tail of the reverb from the snare. And then this like echo thing on top of that. And then I have a bunch of these textures that you probably barely won't even notice. So that was like a CS80 ARP, which is like this plugin, like very, very close emulation of the actually like the real CS80. It's just like some EQing, reverb, filter, and then Omnisphere again, and another like texture thing, like in the pre-chorus. And then I had some guitar. Max, I think, was like just picking the guitar, and I was like just tracking him without him knowing, and we had like a lot of good takes. And these were just like literally, I think he was just like playing around. Didn't know we were even using it, but I ended up like putting it in there and putting like a little like room, I think, like a reverb room, Valhalla chamber. And then I added this like, hey, it's very subtle. And then vocals were just basically, we had Max's lead vocal. We ain't feeling right. Tell me that you want me. So everything behind that lead vocal would basically just be. We ain't feeling right. Tell me that you want me. Hoodie with the stripes, turning down the lights, just us. Play it from your phone. All I wanna know is how we really got here. I don't really care. We can lose sleep, just us. I just wanna know if you could love me like I do. I just wanna know if you could love me like I do. I just wanna. So that was verse and pre-chorus. Now, like going to the chorus, basically, chords are pretty much the same, but I revoiced them a little bit. I added some notes. I also added white noise to kind of like make things a little bit brighter on the sides. Omnisphere. It's like a synth in Omnisphere, basically. This is sidechain to the kick. Everything here was sidechain to the kick, pretty much. And then I added like this boys choir patch I found in Omnisphere on top of that. And And it's like you can't even hear it in the actual song, but together it kind of just like fills things out. Then I also freeze, I think it was like an electric piano and like a lot of reverb. I froze that to audio because my computer CPU was like going crazy. So like together that group just kind of filled it out. Basically the same sub, and then I had like a respace underneath that. It's like from the MIDI V, and I wiped up the low end, you know, some compression, and then I made it wide with the Waves flanger plugin, so it's like on the sides, and then layered with that electric bass I also had in the verse and pre-chorus, and then drums. I kept the same groove that I had in the verse. Did a lot of layering. I have like at least like probably 5 claps here. No, probably 4. So it's the first clap. And snare underneath. That's what's like hitting you in the chest right there. That's like the grit. And then another snare or snap. And then another snare. That's from the Versace sample pack, like probably the best sample pack in the game. And together that just like literally made that snare like so fat. And then the kick kind of just ride in that whole entire section. And the crash. And then added some tom fills. That's like literally just 2 samples, pan left and right, and kind of just makes it feel nice and full. We have like 2 hi-hats, like a rap, like low-key hi-hat. Then I also did like this kind of like room hi-hat that's mostly on the sides, like going with that rap hi-hat. So 2 hi-hats at the same time, which is kind of like not a lot of people do that, but it sounds good. For that bridge, I like decided to do like this little like piano moment here, and I played it in live. It was actually all done in one take, and I kind of sat down. I was like, okay, I want to do something epic, like, you know, if I was performing this on stage, like the piano whips out, smoke comes in, you know, everyone's cheering. So I kind of had that like moment picture in my head. Like some new guitars come in. We had like this really distorted like overdrive. Just like build that tension. So that piano. I think literally drum wise we had just one kick hit when that section came in, and then like the snare I had going on in the verse, which is like going on the whole entire time. So that and the ride. Plus guitar and new guitar. last chorus, literally, it's like the same as every chorus, except little details. Like, basically had the piano going on, the one from the bridge. I had that like really distorted guitar come in, which is new. I think the textures are the same. That thing was still going on. I think I added this clap layer. I didn't have this before. This actually was on every offbeat, so it's like kind of just picks you up. And this was ooze. Almost forgot about the ooze. My friend Dylan, one ooh, left, another layer on the right, and then another layer on the right on top of that, and another layer on the left, and then I did an ooh. I did like a little. I did another one on the right for my ooh. So together they're coming together. And then that was kind of like meshed in the background with the chorus vocal. I just wanna feel more with you. I just really wanna feel it more with you. I layered some of my voices in here. That's Max. That's me. Just literally belting. And then that was pretty much for the chorus, and that's pretty much how we had it laid out for the whole entire song. For the outro, we basically just did this vocoder moment, which I think I just like recorded on my iPhone and Max on my iPhone, and I just bounced it into Ableton, ran it through the Ableton vocoder. I mean, that's pretty much the basic gist of the song and the production. I like to keep it simple and like literally do like those little things like reversing a weird sample or like manipulating like sounds I already have rather than adding new sounds. I think it just kind of makes it seem like it's more cohesive and glued together that way. Also, vocals add a lot to the production. Literally, you could just have a kick or snare and like add a vocal, and then it could be a whole different song. I'm still in love with you. I'm still